So I'm Daryl Lyon, an inspector in North Hampshire Police, and I head up the CIRV programme. So one of the things I wanted to talk about since the last video recorded was about how we've got a very different business model to how traditional policing operates across the rest of the UK. So there's a number of things that we brought in to make sure that we're at absolute optimum efficiency. The programme that I inherited previously to this had a demand rate of about probably had about 10 people referred into this programme every month. We now have 100 a week into the programme that have really high levels of complexity, and we needed to make sure, of course, to manage that level of demand, that we're really efficient, because remember the staff ratio remained the same. We didn't get any additional staff to cope with that demand, but we had to therefore adapt and flex really quickly, otherwise we would have imploded as a team, wouldn't have been able to cope with that level of demand, or we'd have failed the people that were being referred through to us. So we had to make sure that everything that we did added value. We didn't want to have any wastage, so meetings that we felt that weren't important, decisions that were being put off in order to have a meeting, those kind of things we had to get rid of those. So we brought in some structures pretty early on that meant we could operate in a really slick way. So one of the first things we did is we bought some of the software that we've got, the referral point when it comes into us is really easy to use. And once a referral comes into CIRV, and I said we get 100 of those a week, work starts immediately on managing those referrals. So there's no lag time in terms of waiting to go and start working on them. Everyone knows their part to play, and we get straight into going and doing something with those cases. The longest meeting we have in CIRV is our triage meeting that happens once a week every Tuesday at midday. So at each one of those triage meetings we discuss 100 cases that have come in from that previous week. That meeting lasts less than 2 hours, so we have a real quick way of managing the cases here that we don't need to discuss because we've already got enough information, the ones that need a bit of extra time, and then the ones where we need to share information within that triage meeting, and that has been independently evaluated twice as being a really good and successful way of managing all the complexity that comes with those cases and overlaying it with what our partners know around those individuals. So we have information from social care, the multi-agency safeguarding hub, the police, the youth offending service, etc. But everyone has already got a list of who's coming through that triage. It's all done in an information secure way, and we've refined that process where it's got to its maximum level of efficiency. And as I said, that meeting that's about an hour and a half to 2 hours is the longest meeting that we have in CIRV for that week. We're always looking, all we ever really look at in CIRV from a growth and a refinement process is what's not working. So we look at what's causing us problems. We get feedback from the team all the time in terms of things that are causing a sticking point or aren't working, and then we take immediate action to resolve those. So we're empowered within CIRV to make decisions. We're supported from the Commissioner and the Chief Constable down to operate and make decisions quickly in order for us to get the best performance out of the team. So we don't have to send a lot of things back. We send a huge amount of performance data back, but we're in a position where we're outperforming our KPIs. So we're in a position where we're trusted and empowered to make good decisions quickly without having to refer everything back in order to get permission to continue to move forward. We was in a fast-moving environment where we were the first people to be doing this in England and Wales, and we're the first programme to use this type of methodology where there's not a street-based gang imprint. This is for county lines and for the difficult circumstances involving drug dealing and weapon carrying. The programme we've adapted it from didn't use a similar methodology, but for predominantly street-based gangs, and this uses a very different, uses the same type of method, but in a different setting. So it was in new territory, and we had to therefore make sure that we was alive to the fact we needed to refine all the time in order for us to get to a really good position. So it was about refining, it's about us having that business model that was clear and being clear from the beginning what we was out to do, and so everyone on the team had to be clear with what our intention was. And one of the things that we found that was really empowering to the team was we have 3 golden rules. And the first one of those golden rules is, does it feel like it's the right thing to do? And it means that the team have a benchmark in terms of not having to go and put every decision back up the chain to get an answer. They're empowered to be able to make their own decisions in 99% of occasions. Each of the team has a personal budget, so they've got for people they're supporting, because we trust them to make the right decisions, and they've got the best information to make the right decisions in the cases they're managing. So we're given, so more of the decision making in CIRV is pushed further and further towards the front line. So they're not having to escalate things back at us as managers making a relatively arbitrary decision, when they're the person that's best placed to make the judgment call with the complexity of the information at their fingertips. And that's what CIRV's about, really, is that we're dealing with really complex grey areas all the time. And so it's really important that the person who's making that decision is the case manager, or in our case we call them navigators, that they're the ones that have got all the information, all of those relevant pieces, and therefore they've got the infrastructure, they've got the capital, they've got the decision making ability to be able to make the right decision in those circumstances to take the team and their individual cases forward. So if we focus on how we fail fast, we know that having that many referrals through to a team that is pretty small, how are we going to make sure we're investing our resource in the right places? And we've brought in a number of things. One of them was a tool that Professor Steve Peters developed for us, where we can identify the people that are most likely to be successful in our programme. And we have some question sets from the beginning. We have a huge amount of information at our fingertips, and once we've started forming a relationship with somebody to progress them through the CIRV programme, we can then start looking at the characteristics that person has in terms of, are they likely to be ready for change at this moment in time. We get a lot of people, of course, especially when they're facing a court case of where they've got an incentive to say they want to change, but actually the reality is they're not ready, or they don't want to change, or leave violence or drug dealing or whatever it is behind at the moment. So we need to be able to have a way of finding out who those people are, and we've got a really robust and in-depth way of us being able to explore whether that change is right for them at the moment. So we fail fast with cases, but we also fail fast with the programme in terms of things that aren't working. So we regularly go and survey the team, we look at our performance data, and we've got a really good feedback loop bit within the team in terms of them telling us what is and isn't working. So once we identify that something isn't working, we quickly correct it and go and change what that is. And it's about the aggregation of marginal gains, it's about all those types of things, which means that we're then constantly refining all the time. And then we have annually we have a really in-depth level audit where we survey all the team on an individual basis, where it's all anonymised, so we have to get some honest feedback in terms of what they feel as though is working and not working so well. So one of the things we brought in recently was of a 10-minute dial-in every morning, where the team get to connect with each other. We get to share anything that's gone well or not well from the previous 24 hours, any new people that have come into custody, those type of things. So we've got and that's led by me each day, and so we've got a position where everyone's if they need some support with one of their cases, they're able to go and support somebody else. We know exactly what's going on, and it's led like that. And CIRV has very much been about a doing and not talking methodology. So it's all been about action and what we think is actually going to make a difference. So if we feel as though it's not adding any value, or it's not specific, or it's not clear in some way in terms of what we're asking the team to do, and we have to be really honest with ourselves in terms of, does this change help us make a difference to the lives we're trying to change? And if the answer is no, then why are we doing it? And that's what we've had to do more and more in CIRV, is ask ourselves and being genuine with our questioning in terms of, do we think this is really going to make a difference? And that's meant that everything now, as far as we can possibly get, is aligned in the direction where the answer to that is yes. We're just about to have an independent evaluation report come out, which was commissioned by the College of Policing. So we had NatSen with us over the past year, looking into CIRV's first year of operation. The report should be out at the end of the summer. The date is to be yet to be confirmed, but we've of course seen the final draft, and what it's saying is absolutely CIRV is a programme that's delivering in spades. Across the piece in terms of changing people's lives, in terms of perception of the police, everything that we'd want to be pushing in that direction. The evaluation is saying that we're making a huge difference. So since we first started in February 2019, approximately a third of UK forces have come to see us. So we've had representatives from the London's Mayor Office, Essex Police, Kent Police, Bedfordshire Police, just to name a few examples. We've had the Police Service of Northern Ireland are coming to see us next year. We've been invited to speak at the International Conference Law Enforcement and Public Health. We've been to Sweden to go and advise them on some of their gang programmes, and we've also had some people come from the John Jay University over in New York to go and have a look about how this compares to their pulling levers approach. It was where this programme, its inception started over in Boston, Cincinnati. So in this relatively short amount of time, we've had a lot of attention. Thames Valley are the ones that we know now are taking forward a CIRV programme on a similar line to how we've operated. And I think when the independent evaluation lands at the end of the summer, there'll be a blueprint of other forces that other forces can follow in terms of developing a programme similar to CIRV and operating hopefully at the same level as that we've been operating at.